My husband slept with my sister, got her pregnant, let her give the baby away, now I'm the child's mother. And my sister wants her back when everything came out. Our family was destroyed. The truth was uglier than anything I could have imagined. My husband and my sister had a child together, gave her up like trash, and now that little girl calls me Mom. But my sister wants her back. At first, everyone, myself included, thought Melissa's dislike for her daughter Lily was just her usual "I hate girls" thing. Melissa had always had this weird obsession with boys. As a kid, she only played with boys, preferred male teachers, and even as an adult she surrounded herself with men, coworkers, friends, even her pets. She used to joke that she was allergic to estrogen. So when she got pregnant for the first time, she went all out with a blue-themed gender reveal party. She needed a boy. I'll never forget the moment the smoke came out pink. Her face dropped. She forced a smile, but I could see her shoulders slump and her jaw tighten. For the rest of her pregnancy, she shared articles about toxic femininity and ranted in boy-mom Facebook groups about how girls are too emotional. When Lily was born, she refused to dress her in pink, calling it too girly. She only used neutral colors, gray, beige, cream, and instead of calling her Lily, she said the baby. Even at family gatherings, Melissa would roll her eyes whenever Lily cried. "She's so needy, so dramatic," she'd say. Lily was 2, a toddler. Meanwhile, my husband Tyler and I had been trying for a baby for 7 years, 7 long years of failed treatments, heartbreak, and crushed hopes. I remember once asking Melissa, half-jokingly, "If you really don't want her, maybe we could take her." Her reaction chilled me. She gave me this wild stare and snapped, "I'd rather sell her than give her to you." I laughed it off back then. I wish I hadn't. When Melissa got pregnant again the following year, she told everyone she'd terminate if it was another girl. She was that desperate for a son. She did everything: Chinese calendars, special oils, old wives' rituals, even considered gender selection IVF. And when the doctor confirmed it was a boy, she cried with joy. At the gender reveal, blue smoke filled the air and she literally dropped to her knees sobbing. Lily, confused, toddled over to hug her and ask what was happening. Melissa shoved her away, hard enough that Lily tripped and scraped her leg on a swing. That moment told me everything. After that, most of the family started keeping our distance. When Melissa moved to Europe to give birth, apparently because it was cheaper, we stopped hearing from her for months. Then, one afternoon, my grandmother organized a big family FaceTime call. Melissa joined, showing off her new baby boy, Noah. Everyone cooed and smiled. Then my aunt asked, "Can we see Lily too?" Melissa froze. Her eyes darted down. She mumbled, "She's not here." After being pressed, she finally admitted she'd given Lily up for adoption just 2 months before Noah was born. Her reason? She was too much, and I didn't want to buy 2 sets of Christmas gifts. I remember my grandmother clutching her chest and gasping Lily's name before collapsing. She was rushed to the hospital mid-call. I was screaming at Melissa, demanding why she didn't ask me and Tyler to take Lily. And that's when I noticed something in Tyler's face: guilt. That night, after visiting Grandma, I found him in our bedroom, deleting old photos from his phone. Photos from 4 years ago, the same year I'd miscarried. Some looked like ultrasound images. I asked what he was erasing. He got defensive. "You're being paranoid, let it go. Melissa's adoption isn't your business." I hadn't even mentioned Melissa. The next morning, I hired a private investigator. I asked him to find Lily and quietly check paternity. 2 weeks later, I got the report. Hotel receipts, deleted texts, credit card charges, and DNA results. Lily was Tyler's daughter. I sat in my car for an hour just staring at that envelope. I wanted to scream, to break something, but I didn't. I stayed calm. That night, I parked near our building and waited. Melissa was coming over. I saw her red SUV pull in just as Tyler's silver Honda arrived. They barely looked at each other before walking inside. I waited 5 minutes, then followed. When I opened the door, Tyler was on the couch scrolling his phone. Melissa was sipping water at the counter. He didn't even glance up. "Hey, babe, Melissa just got here." I dropped the envelope on the table. "We need to talk." "All of us?" Melissa rolled her eyes. "If this is about Lily, it's done. She's adopted." I spread the papers out: DNA results, hotel bills, messages. Tyler's face turned white. "What the hell is this?" "You know exactly what it is," I said. 4 years ago. When I was in the hospital, you and my sister. Melissa actually laughed. "Oh my God, you paid someone to dig this up. You're pathetic." "Pathetic," I said, holding up the DNA results. "You gave away your daughter, his daughter, out of spite." Tyler's voice cracked. "This is fake. You're jealous because Melissa had kids and you didn't." I played the audio the PI had recovered, a recording from Melissa's own security cameras. Tyler's voice, "She'll never know Lily's mine." Melissa's voice, "Good, she doesn't deserve to." Melissa's glass shattered in her hand. "You recorded us." "The pie did," I said calmly. "And by the way, I've already filed for divorce. Joint accounts frozen, papers are ready." Tyler lunged for the envelope. "You can't do this." "Actually, I can," I said. "Adultery affects division, you'll find that out tomorrow." I turned to Melissa. "Did he ever pay child support, help with Lily?" She scoffed. "He couldn't, not without you finding out. He said once you two split, he'd help." They started yelling at each other, blaming, screaming, accusing. That's when my grandmother walked in with my aunt and uncle behind her. Her voice was cold steel. "Enough!" Melissa folded her arms. "It's over, the adoption's closed." My aunt stepped forward. "Sunshine Private Adoption Agency, right? I know them, they have a 6-month reversal clause if both parents didn't consent. Tyler didn't sign anything, did he?" Tyler shook his head. "No, she said the baby wasn't mine." Melissa's confidence shattered. "You can't find her. I picked a family in Oregon on purpose." I pulled another folder from my bag. "They already reached out. Lily's having nightmares, crying for someone named Auntie. They're bringing her back." Melissa's face twisted. "You can't," my grandmother stepped closer. "If you don't cooperate, you're out of my will, you and Noah. You can't control me with money." "I just did," Grandma said. Melissa turned to Tyler. "We'll fight this." "Get her back," he jerked away. "You gave her away behind my back." My aunt lifted her phone. "And now you've both admitted it, great for court." Melissa made a run for it, but my uncle blocked the door. Her phone rang, the adoption agency. They were already on their way, returning Lily that night. Melissa tried lying about where to bring her, but my lawyer cut in on speaker. "She'll be delivered to her great-grandmother's house." "Neutral ground." Melissa screamed and threw her phone against the wall. "You planned this, all of you," she cried, pointing at me. "You'll never be her mother." I looked her straight in the eyes. "Neither will you." My aunt handed Tyler a new set of papers. "Sign your rights over and you'll avoid charges for neglect and abandonment." He signed instantly. Melissa stared at him like he'd just stabbed her. "You traitor." We all left for Grandma's house in separate cars. Melissa tried following, but police stopped her for reckless driving. By the time she arrived, the Oregon couple was already in the driveway. They stepped out holding a tiny girl in a pink coat, Lily. She looked smaller, her eyes uncertain, clutching a worn elephant plushie. The woman gently said, "She's been asking for Auntie for weeks." When Lily saw me, she ran straight into my arms. "Auntie, where Mommy go?" I knelt, hugging her tightly. "I'm here, sweetheart, you're safe." Melissa's furious scream made Lily flinch and cry. Grandma ushered everyone inside. Lawyers started the custody process immediately. Melissa tried to fight it. Tyler tried to disappear. The court battles are still dragging on. But the moment Lily called me Mommy for the first time, I knew it was worth every scar. Because she was home now, where she always should have been. The adoptive family in Oregon had already submitted their sworn statements. They detailed everything: Lily's recurring nightmares, her refusal to eat, hours of uncontrollable crying, and the way she kept calling out for Auntie. They documented every episode, and that evidence became one of our biggest strengths in court. But of course, Melissa's attorney claimed it was exaggerated. That same afternoon, Tyler showed up at my grandmother's house. I was in the kitchen with Lily. She was sitting at the table, quietly coloring, her crayons neatly lined up. Her face was calm but distant, like she was trying to stay small in a world that had already scared her too much. When she heard his voice in the hallway, she froze. Her little head lifted, her hand hovering above her drawing. She recognized him instantly. But she didn't move. Tyler took a hesitant step forward. My grandmother intercepted him. "You've already signed away your rights," she said sharply. "You don't get to approach her." "I was tricked," he argued. "I didn't know what I was signing." From the living room, my aunt's voice cut through. "You signed in front of 3 witnesses. Tyler, don't lie now." His face flushed deep red. "I want to see my daughter." "The daughter you ignored for 4 years?" I asked quietly. "The one you let Melissa give away without a word." His expression twisted with anger. "At least I didn't hire a private investigator to spy on my own family. How long have you been plotting this? Was this your plan from the start, to steal her?" Before I could respond, a small voice interrupted. "Why is everyone yelling?" We all froze. Lily looked up, confused, her eyes flicking from me to Tyler. I knelt beside her. "Sometimes grown-ups argue," I said softly. "But you're safe, sweetheart." She hesitated, then asked the question that silenced us all. "Are you my daddy?" Tyler's mouth opened, then closed. He looked like someone had punched the air out of him. He turned without a word and left. Lily watched him go, blinked once, and returned to her coloring like nothing happened. The next morning, things escalated again. Melissa had gone to Lily's old daycare, demanding access to her records under the excuse of medical reasons. Thankfully, the daycare director had heard rumors about what was happening and refused. Melissa threw such a tantrum that security had to escort her out. The whole incident was documented and sent straight to our lawyer. My aunt spent half the night building more evidence. Melissa's years of social media posts from boy-mom groups, her complaints about hating to raise a daughter, and even a deleted post from when Lily was 18 months old asking if anyone knew lawyers for rehoming children. Her lawyer tried to claim it was all taken out of context, but the damage was done. Then the financial attacks started. Tyler had managed to pull $30,000 from one of our joint investment accounts right before the freeze took effect. My lawyer scrambled to recover it, but most of it was gone. I had to borrow money from Grandma to cover legal fees. It was humiliating. 2 nights before the hearing, while Lily and I were asleep at Grandma's house, glass shattered downstairs. Someone had thrown a rock through the window with a note tied to it. "Stop this or you'll regret it." We called the police, but without proof it was Melissa or Tyler, all they could do was file a report. Lily clung to me all night, trembling. "Will the bad people come back?" she whispered. I hugged her tighter. "Not while I'm here." The morning of the hearing was gray and rainy. Lily wore her favorite purple dress. Her small hand wrapped tightly around mine as we walked through the courthouse doors, surrounded by my family like a protective wall. Melissa arrived separately, wearing a stiff, conservative suit, clearly coached to look put together. She had never looked more unnatural in her life. The courtroom itself was small, like a conference room. Judge Bennett, a woman in her 60s with sharp, steady eyes, reviewed the thick file in front of her. Lily sat in my lap, quietly stroking her plush elephant. Melissa's lawyer went first. He painted her as a heartbroken single mother who'd made a painful but selfless decision for her daughter's well-being. He called the adoption lawful, accused us of meddling in a closed case, and claimed Melissa had been suffering from postpartum depression. When it was our turn, my lawyer methodically presented the evidence: the Facebook posts, the recorded conversations where Melissa and Tyler plotted to give Lily away, the lack of paternal consent, and the adoptive family's documentation of Lily's trauma. He ended by playing a short video, Lily in Oregon, screaming for Auntie until she threw up. Melissa's mask cracked. "Those were jokes," she snapped. "Everyone vents about their kids online." The judge's expression didn't change. She asked to speak with Lily privately in her chambers, with only a child advocate present. Those 20 minutes felt like years. When Lily came back, she ran straight into my arms and buried her face in my shoulder. Judge Bennett returned a moment later and announced her preliminary ruling. Given the unlawful adoption, the father's lack of consent, and the child's evident distress, I was granted temporary emergency custody. Melissa would have supervised visits twice a week. A final hearing would be set in 90 days. Melissa lost it. "She's not her real mother. This is kidnapping." Judge Bennett slammed her gavel. "One more word, Miss Melissa, and I will hold you in contempt." Outside the courthouse, Melissa hissed, "You think you've won? I'll never stop fighting." Grandma's reply was calm but sharp. "Then you'll keep losing. Because you're fighting for your ego, not for love." The first supervised visit was awful. Lily cried nonstop, begging to leave. Melissa tried bribing her with candy and toys, but nothing worked. The supervisor's notes later stated that Melissa seemed annoyed, not concerned. Meanwhile, Tyler had moved on, dating someone new from work, posting photos, calling her his fresh start. It actually strengthened my case. After 3 weeks in my care, Lily finally began to heal. The nightmares came less often. She still asked why she had to see that lady, but she smiled more and started to eat normally again. I got her into play therapy twice a week. The bills piled up fast. I sold my jewelry, my car, anything to keep things stable. Melissa's behavior grew more erratic. She once showed up drunk to Lily's therapy session and demanded to join. When the staff refused, she sat in the parking lot, taking photos of everyone who entered and left. Her lawyer quit the next day. At her second supervised visit, she brought Noah, her baby boy, to force a bond. But Lily got scared when the baby cried and hid under a table. Melissa yelled that she was being dramatic. The visit ended early. The constant stress started affecting my job. I was placed on unpaid leave after leaving early 3 times in 1 week to deal with daycare calls and legal meetings. Then Melissa's new attorney filed a motion claiming I'd alienated Lily from her biological mother. They demanded psychological evaluations and extended visitation. I couldn't afford the fees. Thankfully, my aunt found Dr. Larkin, a child psychologist who volunteered to assess Lily for free after hearing our story. His report was heartbreaking. Lily's disrupted adoption had caused deep emotional trauma. She identified me as her primary parent. The mere mention of Melissa triggered fear and anxiety. I remember crying over a pile of unpaid bills at Grandma's table one night. "I wanted to be a mom," I whispered. "But not like this, not drowning in debt and fighting my sister over a child she abandoned." Grandma wrote another check, her hands shaking. "Family looks after family, always." The third supervised visit never happened. Melissa arrived completely intoxicated. The staff turned her away and filed a report. Her second lawyer dropped her the next morning. With just 4 weeks before the final hearing, Tyler came crawling back with a new plan. He wanted to revoke his signed surrender and claim joint custody with me. His lawyer's motion accused Melissa of being an unfit mother and insisted he'd been emotionally manipulated into signing his rights away. Even I was stunned by his nerve. Melissa went ballistic, flooding him with hundreds of texts, threats, pleas, curses. His lawyer submitted them as evidence of her instability. Now I was up against both of them. Lily's therapist revealed in court notes that she remembered being left with strangers, told that I didn't want her anymore. She said Lily believed she was thrown away because she was bad. The therapist testified that removing her from me now would cause severe, irreversible harm. Then, 2 weeks before the hearing, I caught Lily cutting her own hair. When I asked why, she said softly, "If I look like a boy, maybe Mommy will love me." I held her and sobbed until we both fell asleep. That was the night something inside me hardened. I wasn't just fighting for custody anymore, I was fighting to save her soul. Melissa hit rock bottom soon after. She posted a drunken video online accusing the entire court system of conspiring against her, naming the judge, the child advocate, even Dr. Larkin. Within 12 hours, she was arrested for harassment and threats. Bail, $10,000, nobody paid it. The next morning, my lawyer went over the case one last time. Every detail pointed toward us: Melissa's abandonment, Tyler's negligence, Lily's trauma, the financial records, the expert testimonies. But family court could be unpredictable. That night, Lily asked quietly, "Auntie, will you be my mommy forever now?" I brushed her uneven hair and said, "I'll do everything in my power to make sure of it." The final hearing was held on a bitterly cold Thursday. Lily wore her purple sweater and clutched her elephant plush. My family flanked us as we walked inside. Melissa stumbled in late, alone. She looked pale, wrinkled, and worn. Her last lawyer had quit after her arrest, so she represented herself, wearing the same dirty suit from the previous hearing. Tyler sat across the room, avoiding everyone's gaze, scrolling through his phone. His new attorney, a sharp, confident woman, argued that Tyler had been coerced and deserved joint custody. Judge Bennett entered, calm but severe. She began with Melissa's recent arrest, calling it evidence of poor judgment and lack of emotional control. My lawyer presented our evidence again: Lily's psychological reports, the adoption fraud, Melissa's online rants, the visitation records. Dr. Larkin testified, explaining Lily's trauma in quiet, clinical terms that made everyone's eyes mist. "She believes she was abandoned for being the wrong kind of child," he said softly. "Her attachment to her current guardian is her only sense of safety. Removing her now would cause permanent psychological damage." Melissa tried to cross-examine him, but it devolved into shouting. She accused him of taking bribes and claimed the court was out to get her. Judge Bennett warned her twice for interrupting. Tyler's attorney then argued her client had been manipulated by Melissa and deserved a second chance. But when asked why he'd ignored Lily for years, Tyler had no answer. Finally, the judge leaned back, took a deep breath, and said the words that ended it all. "Given the overwhelming evidence of neglect, emotional harm, and lack of stability from both biological parents, and the child's clear attachment to her current caregiver, permanent guardianship of Lily is hereby granted to her aunt." Melissa screamed. Tyler dropped his head into his hands. Lily, sitting quietly beside me, looked up and whispered, "Can we go home now?" I nodded through tears. "Yes, sweetheart, we can go home." If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a comment, hit subscribe, follow for more, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss the next one.